Hello, I am Ben Avery. I'm joined by my good pal John Penny in the first episode of a new podcast called Crowncast Podcast. John, how you doing?
All doing well, Ben. I'm glad to be here alongside with you and discussing the Royals. And in the future, we will be discussing the Chiefs as well.
Yeah. Quick note on that. So in this podcast, we are going to talk about the Royals during baseball season and the Chiefs during football season. Without further ado, let's get into the first segment of answering some icebreaker questions.
I'm excited.
Yeah. First question, what is your favorite sport and why?
Well, my favorite sport to watch has probably got to be football. Now, my favorite sport to play is baseball, which convenient because that's the sports we'll be discussing. So
Yeah. Yeah,
good to know
I'm
that
the
I like them both.
yeah, I like baseball to play, and it was baseball to watch, but now it's football because we got Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
What's the best sporting event you've ever attended?
The best sporting event I've ever attended in recent memory was at David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium about a year and a half ago, October of 23, I believe, when they knocked off, I believe it was number 6 Oklahoma. It made national attention, and goalposts were taken down, and I was on the field for that. Very good time.
Yeah. For me, I gotta say the 2014 American League wildcard game.
Oh, yes, I remember you telling me you were there, and man, that had to be a blast. I fell asleep, and no, true story, I fell asleep and woke up to a notification from the MLB app saying that Salvi had walked off, and I couldn't believe it. I was smiling from ear to ear. So,
Yeah.
very exciting.
What's one sport you wanted to try but never got to try? Football.
I never played tackle football myself, but I did play flag a little bit. And yeah, I'm with you on that. I would have liked to play football, but one sport that really gets with me that I really wanted to try because I did ice skating for a little bit and thought I was
Yeah.
actually pretty decent. And I think I could have been a decent hockey player.
Yeah. Do you prefer to watch sports live or on TV?
It really depends on the sport. I'm not much of a like professional football kind of guy watching that in person. I haven't been to a Chiefs game in person probably 10, 15 years. It's been a long time. Now,
Yeah.
college, I love watching that in person. It kind of depends on, professional or college. And, um, yeah, basically, it really depends on what it is.
Yeah, I'm the same way with you, John. Who is your favorite commentator or analyst?
Favorite commentator or analyst recently probably is Dick Vitale for basketball because he's very enthusiastic and really he keeps you engaged with the sport.
Yeah. You
How
know,
about
to
yourself?
be to be honest, I don't really pay attention to the commentators that much. But probably if I had to say one, Joe Buck.
Really, not a fan myself. May I ask
Yeah.
why?
No, wait, sorry, not Joe Buck. I had to think on it, and probably Phil Simms.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's probably he was just the first football analyst that came to mind.
very nice.
If you could meet any athlete, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Now that's a tough one. I think yesterday when we were discussing these, I said Patrick Mahomes, but I feel like Patrick Mahomes could be easier to meet than we think, given that we live in the KC area.
Yeah, and I work for the Chiefs, so it could be easy.
Yeah, um, Babe Ruth would be someone I'd really like to meet.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not possible, but we're discussing dead or
I mean,
alive.
yeah. For me, if I had to pick alive, I would say probably Michael Jordan, but dead, I would probably say Joe Montana.
Hmm, that is a good one.
Yeah. If you could change any rule in the sport, what would it be?
Which sport are you referring?
Just anyone, any
Any
sport.
sport? Well, baseball, I really don't like. We discussed yesterday. We both don't like the extra inning rule with second base.
Yeah,
You need to play the game of baseball. You don't need to
yeah,
be putting a guy at second base. Play the game until the game is over. Now, I understand them implementing it because players get tired. It's a long season and things like that. But is that really the best way to go about it? Probably not. Um, Football, we'll discuss that as football comes because I really can't think of, off the top of my head, football rules I'd change. But we'll discuss that as the season
What
comes up.
is your what is your favorite sports movie?
My favorite sports movie currently, now we never know if a better sports movie will come, but currently is Moneyball because it's just an amazing story of the Oakland Athletics,
I like the movie Radio.
which I still need to watch. And maybe one day on the podcast we'll discuss the movie with our viewers.
Uh, if you could be an expert at any sport, which one would it be?
I'd like to be an expert in baseball. I wouldn't say I'm quite there. I would say I know majority of the rules, but it's not like I'm not like you who knows every ballpark, majority of the players. You're a lot more of an expert than I am, Ben.
Yeah, probably because I've been to like 14 or 15 of the stadiums.
Right, and I've only been to 6 or 7.
Yeah. I gotta say, my favorite stadium is either Comerica Park or American Family Field.
See, my favorite park's probably Busch Stadium. It's large. It's got a great fan base. Now, while the Cardinals are a rival of the Royals, I truly do enjoy their stadium. Their fans actually aren't that bad either, from what I've noticed. It's just that type of rivalry that dates back to the 1985 World Series.
Yeah.
And they're just upset because one bad call in Game 6 that they just can't get over.
Yeah. I mean, it's in the past. You've won some World Series since then.
Right. If you look to modern day and the new technology, the Royals may not have won that World Series.
Yeah. I mean, George Ordo would have been out given if we had instant replay.
And supposing that they hadn't already used a challenge earlier in the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
we
if it's
don't
late
know.
but if it's late in the game, do they get to choose like can replay officials do that? Or is
In the
that more
playoffs, I believe so. I believe so. And I believe in the
yeah.
playoffs, you actually get 2 challenges. I think you get an extra one. So,
Yeah. In the next segment, we're going to talk about what we think the Royals and Guardians starting lineup should be. Man, Slinkies are cool. And we're back, gonna discuss what we think is a starting lineup. So, who do you have batting first?
so a lot of websites that I've looked at actually have India batting first, a new member of the Royals, who
Yeah,
they, yep,
from the Red.
yep, with that big trade that sent Brady Singer over there, which
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard, Ben. Did you hear that Brady Singer actually dropped all his Royals merchandise off at a Goodwill in frustration?
No, no.
Yes, he was not a very happy camper with that trade. Which, I mean, if you got traded from a team that you truly enjoyed, I don't think you'd be happy either.
Yeah.
And, I think we both will miss Brady Singer.
Yeah.
He was a good ball player. But hopefully, in this trade, we get a couple quality guys on our roster.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So I
so like I said, most websites have India starting hitting in the one spot. I'm going to have to disagree, given that Massey was often in the one spot last year. So I actually have Massey hitting first. And I actually have India towards the middle of the lineup, which I think would be a safe place for him to go, given that he hasn't been in the starting roster for the Royals yet.
so I have India in the leadoff spot.
And that very well could be. They may
Yeah.
decide that with spring training and them already developing the guy, that we're going to put him in the leadoff spot.
Yeah, because I think India is more like a better leadoff guy. Do you remember David DeJesus?
I do.
Like he was for the Royals. Like, yeah, I remember DeJesus led off a lot, and I feel
Mhm.
like India could do the same thing.
Well, we do need a quality leadoff guy. Leadoff batters in recent memory have been a little shaky. If we can
Yeah,
get a good leadoff guy going to develop the lineup, you got Witt following, and then probably Vinny and Salvy, and get
yep,
it.
that's
Yep, we need to get a quality system going early, which was kind of a struggle for the Royals last year. Was not scoring runs early. You get runs scoring early and get quality pitching out there with Reagans, Lugo, Waka. Could be a really good season.
yeah. And do you know if India led off for the Reds a lot last year?
I don't off the top of my head. We might get back to our viewers in our next podcast on that one.
Yeah. So towards the middle of the order, I got Massey, Blanco, and Isbell because I don't think Melendez is having a quote unquote a great spring training.
You know, spring training, obviously, it doesn't fully matter for the regular season. Obviously, it's a development for the players. They're evaluated and coming to the season, hopefully with momentum from spring
Yeah,
training. Now, obviously, Melendez is going to be a big part of this roster, whether he plays a lot in the roster or doesn't. He is going to be a big factor for the Royals and hopefully a major improvement from last year.
yeah. So what's your opinion on Isbell in the seventh spot?
If they do decide to put Isbell in the 7 spot, I wouldn't dislike it. Isbell was a massive improvement late in the season last year that showed quality at bats and a tremendous outfielder. We can't deny that. Very good in the outfield, quality on defense. The hitting was a struggle earlier last season, but I think he developed into a very good hitter late in the season. I think he could be a quality 7 spot.
Yeah, in the Royals' last game of the season, postseason that is, Isbell. Do you remember Isbell's shot to right center field?
You're talking that playoff game that barely missed? Yeah, a very big heart wrencher for Royals fans
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. My brother said he was so excited he accidentally turned off the TV. Then when he realized it wasn't a home run, he was so disappointed.
Yeah, very disappointing for us Royals fans on that one. But
Yeah.
obviously, we're looking for a better outcome this year. And I guarantee you, Ben, we're probably going to be seeing the Yankees yet again somewhere in the playoffs if we
Let
can make
let's
it there
hope,
again.
let's hope this is not like the 1970s where we didn't beat the Yankees at all in the postseason.
Yeah, obviously, the Yankees a big rival for the Royals. Now, most people across the league, fan wise, will say that that's really not the case, but it is because you look back to the 70s, we just could not get past the Yankees. And when we
Yeah.
did, we finally made it to the World Series.
Yeah, but we lost to the Phillies.
Yes, we did. But if you think about it, Ben, would you still be happy if we won an American League pennant?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, just like the Chiefs, they won the AFC Championship game, but got completely demolished in the Super Bowl. I'm still happy because we made it to 7 or 8 conference championships in a row.
Right. Fans need to understand. Obviously, um, the grand thing is to, win the World Series, win the Super Bowl, win the finals in the NBA, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But if you can, win your conference or even win your division for some teams, like, you look at like the White Sox right now, for example, they would love to win the division after last year.
Is it going to happen? Probably
I,
not.
I would not guess that would be the case. The two teams we're discussing in this segment right now, as we're about to go into the Cleveland Guardians, who we will be facing on opening day, the Royals and the Guardians are probably top tier teams to win the Central this year, but we don't know. The Twins
Yeah,
are also in there.
I'm going to read up on. I put at the end of my notes what I think the final score is going to be and what's my opinion on these two teams. Um, yeah, to my other brother, I made a bet to him for $25 that the White Sox are going to lose more than 125 games this year.
Really, you think the White Sox are going to lose more than 125 games?
Yeah,
You don't think there will be an improvement?
no,
Interesting. Well, we'll have to further discuss that in another podcast.
yeah,
Because personally, I think we could have a good debate there. Because I don't agree with that. Do I think the White Sox are going to majorly improve? I don't. But I can't see a team being that bad yet again. But
and
only time will tell.
both my brothers actually touched on that. We went to dinner like a couple nights ago, and we were talking about that. And in the, I think, power rankings, the White Sox are still like in the projected standings. The White Sox are still predicted to finish last.
Yeah, and that's not really surprising. You got Detroit, the Twins, the Guardians, and White Sox. I hope I listed all those in order.
And the
Um,
Royals.
yeah, and obviously the Royals. And out of all those teams, we expect the White Sox and probably Detroit as well to be in the bottom tier. And then you got the Twins, the Royals, and the Guardians probably battling it out for the division.
Yeah,
My guess is yet again we are going to see a lot of teams coming from the Central that may end up in the wild card.
yeah. Were you at the? Oh yeah, you fell asleep during that game. I was gonna ask. Speaking of wild card, did you watch the 2014 wild card game?
I did watch the wild card game. I believe when I couldn't stay awake anymore, mind you, I was, oh boy, how old were we then, Ben?
I was four. Your birthday's in August, right?
Yeah, so I was probably 13. Yeah, I probably was.
Yeah,
Eh,
you're born in. So yeah, you're 13. I was 14.
So I had a much earlier bedtime schedule than I do now at the age of 23. Um, I think after why isn't his name resonating with me? Who was the guy pitching in the 10th and the 11th? Oh boy,
You know what? I can look it up.
you'll tell me his name.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue as well. But after I think I saw him strike out the side, I think he struck out the side the 11th. I could be wrong. Um, I decided I can't stay awake anymore, which I wish I did because it was just one more inning and we won. But
Uh,
what is it?
I am looking it up as we speak. Oh, Brandon Finnegan.
Yes, Brandon Finnegan. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he was actually probably one of my favorite pitchers. Great enthusiasm. And really loved being with the Royals for what short time he was. And I don't know if you know, he recently retired as well from the game.
yeah.
And you know, I went to sleep after he pumped his fist to the crowd. I'm sure you remember. He probably went nuts and was screaming coming off the mound. And just an inning later, we were moving on to the ALDS.
So I'm gonna tell you who I got last. The two last guys, and see if you agree. I got Velasquez and Renfro.
Hmm. For the bottom of the lineup,
Yeah, the last two guys.
I actually personally have Renfro towards the middle, maybe a 6 or 7 spot. I I actually did put him as a 5. I'm actually gonna have to rethink that. I don't think Renfro could go in a 5. I think Renfro is much better at a 6 or a 7 spot because it is difficult to follow up Salvy. I'm curious to see who will follow up Salvy to start the season.
Yeah, and as I said, I got Massey following Salvi.
That might actually end up being the best thing for the Royals to do because if you can get India starting with a quality bat there, and then you got Witt, Vinny, Salvy following Massey, that could be some really good early run production for the Royals that could lead us to over a 90 win hump.
Yeah. So, what's your opinion on Renfro as DH in the ninth spot?
Renfro as a DH should be a limited thing, in my opinion, because I think he can be very productive for us in the outfield. I think it's best for the Royals to put Salvy in the DH mostly, simply because of his age. Salvy still has a quality bat, but it's hard for Salvy at, I believe he's age 35, if I'm not mistaken, to continuously squat for 9 innings at catcher, 162 games a year. It's going to be
But
difficult for him.
he also is a first baseman.
Yeah, we can move him to first base and utilize Renfro more at DH if we so please, but you can also utilize Vinny at DH.
Yeah,
So there'll probably be a lot of fluctuation in the DH spot as the season progresses, just trying to
yeah,
figure out who's going to be the most quality DH for the Royals.
yeah. If I was Matt Quatrero, I would put Perez at first base more games than not. Pascantino at DH, and have Freddie Fermin catch.
Yeah, I would like to see Freddie Fermin catching a lot more. I actually would like to see Freddie Fermin in a lot more games. I think Freddie Fermin could be really quality utility player for the Royals. Whether Freddie Freddie could even DH as well if we wanted him to. So we got a lot of players. We got a lot of bench players like Freddie Fermin, for example, who could really impact the Royals this season.
Yeah. So, did you know Bobby Wood Jr. led the league in batting averages in 332 batting average, and he also led the league in hits last year?
I knew the batting average. The hits does sound right, but I didn't know that actually. So now, yes, Witz is going to have a hard season to pass up this year. But if any player on this roster is going to do it, I think it's Witt. we might be witnessing potentially the next George Brett for the Royals franchise in regards to
Yeah,
hits, in regards to production. Witt is a very quality looking player right now. Obviously, we don't want to see a decline from him. We want to see him performing as well as he did last year or even better.
yeah,
Obviously, for a Royals fan, it was tough to see him get passed up for the MVP spot from Aaron Judge. Now, Aaron Judge is a first ballot Hall of Famer. We know this. Witt could end up being a first ballot Hall of Famer as well, but we're going to have to see him outrun Aaron Judge for MVP once, maybe twice, for Witt to be considered a first ballot Hall of Famer.
yeah. Lost my train of thought. But here's a funny stat. Did you know Vinny Pasquantino led the league in sack flies last year?
That I did know. Vinny is a quality RBI machine for the Royals that hopefully we can continue. Just getting the ball to the outfield with a man on third is run production. The more runs we're going to get, the more likely chance, obviously, we're going to win. It's simple.
Yeah,
So, with Vinny as an RBI machine, we do want to keep him in the 3 or the 4 spot all season long. Obviously, he's going to need a rest day every, 15 games or so, where you could, put Salvi at first, bring Freddie Fermin in. Now, like I said, I'd like Freddie Fermin to play more games this year than he did last year, but obviously that's up to Matt Quatrero as far as where he wants to put guys and how productive they're going to be. And as the season progresses, we'll discuss how we think these guys are performing in regards to what we've been talking about so far.
yeah. Do you want to guess how many sack flies?
Oh, he probably, if I had, it was probably definitely over 30.
No, way less.
Oh, way less.
I mean, that's what I read.
How many did he have?
13.
13. So, well, if you really think about it, that is a decent amount. Now, it just feels to a Royals fan that he had way more than that because Vinny truly is an RBI machine. So that's why I guessed a very high number.
Yeah. You know, I met Vit. Well, I don't know if I met him, but I got his autograph at spring training.
Oh, yeah, you were telling me about that. Vinny
Yeah.
could end up being a really good player, potential Royals Hall of Famer. So to have his
Do you
autograph there,
think?
say
Yeah.
again?
Sorry, but do you think he is going to be an all star this year?
If he can stay healthy, I think we could see 4 or 5 All Stars on the Royals team. Just like I'm sure you remember in 2015 when the Royals were projected basically the entire field in regards to All Stars. I don't know if you remember that, but they were projecting like 8 All
Yeah.
Stars on the field when the year we won the World Series. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
In 2016, there's like Perez, Kane, Mustakis, Hosmer, Gordon.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
was great. And I feel that this team could have that similar outcome. Maybe not as many All Stars, because I don't know if this team is World Series capable quite yet. Obviously, that's what we're hoping for this year. I think this team is championship series capable for sure. But obviously, with the Yankees in our way, we're going to have a tough time getting there. It's just getting over that hurdle of one of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, we're going to have a hard time with Judge, Soto. What's that? His last name starts with a G. What's that pitcher's name for the Yankees?
You're talking about you ain't talking about Garrett Cole by mistake, are you?
I thought his last name was a G, but yeah, it's probably Garrett Cole.
Yeah, he gave us trouble for sure. Um, just getting over that hurdle, and for all we know, the Yankees may not be the best team in the American League this year. It could be the Guardians, or it could be some other team we're not thinking of. Orioles, for example, with Gunnar Henderson and guys like that on their team. we could be seeing a rise from teams we're not even expecting.
Yeah. And to be honest, I liked the Yankees when they had Jeter, Posada, Rivera, uh, Cano. Sorry, 2012 All Star Game fans. Uh, but yeah, I liked it back then, but I don't like them now.
Yeah, they were definitely a much more exciting team to watch. There wasn't as far as a Royals fan is concerned, there wasn't that real beef between them. Obviously, the name's not resonating with me right now. It probably will resonate with me here in a minute. But there was, players talking smack before the series even started between the Royals and the Yankees. So there was a lot of fans from Royals and from Yankees side that were saying we got to win this series for our team's pride, for our city's pride. And unfortunately, we saw it lean towards the Yankees. But Royals fans are not going to forget that series coming into this year. And the Royals as a team and the fans for the city of Kansas City are going to be looking for us to beat the Yankees.
Yeah, we weren't really that. It wasn't like a big rivalry back then because we were so awful.
It wasn't so much that we were awful, it's just we were so awful against the Yankees. The Yankees, I mean, 27 rings, we can't deny this.
Yeah,
27 rings. They haven't won since what, '09, I believe.
yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean, the Yankees historically up until, '09, which we believe is their last World Series, I believe that's correct. They were dominant, and there's no other way to put it. Now, the Yankees obviously have had troubles getting over the hurdle in the past 15 or so years. And obviously, the Royals and many other teams want to keep it that way. We don't want to see, as most MLB fans as well, they don't want to see the Yankees continuously get back to the World Series. They want to see teams that are lower on the payroll scale, such as the Royals, who don't have that much money, make it to the World Series.
yeah. As Yankees fans, probably want to see them eclipse 30 rings eventually.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'd be okay if the Yankees never did get one again. And I'm sure you're the same way
Yeah.
because there's that big rivalry between the Royals and the Yankees that, just like we discussed, dates all the way back to the '70s when the Royals really even got started as a franchise.
Okay, upon further review, yes. The last World Series for the Yankees was against the Phillies in '09.
Yep, that was when the Phillies were a good ball club. I liked watching the Phillies back then. I don't know about you.
This is only that was the second World Series title in this century for the Yankees.
Wow, that's crazy to think about.
So they also beat the Mets in the 2000 World Series.
Didn't they have, was it a three-peat? I think it was a three-peat between like '99, 2000, 2001.
No, the Diamondbacks won in 2001.
Okay. There was some three-peat.
I
Maybe.
think it was. I think it was 98, 99, and 2000.
Okay. Yep. That's probably right.
They also won in '96, so they won 4 World Series in 5 years.
Now, Ben, I'm sure our fans are awaiting us to discuss what that Guardians lineup's going to be looking like.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Shall we?
Uh, but first, let's go to commercial break. Oh, what? I'm just still playing with my Slinky. While I'm playing with my Slinky, just know that If I had to choose any MLB team to root for, it would be the Royals. And we are back predicting the Guardians starting lineup, which for opening day, which I've actually been to their stadium.
Yes, very nice stadium that I too want to visit. Maybe someday we'll go together. Who knows?
Yeah,
It'll be a
but
fun time.
if I'm totally honest, the stadium's not that flashy.
Well, maybe we'll have to go to a more exciting stadium then.
Yeah, like Comerica Park.
Yes, Ben is a big fan of Comerica Park, despite them being a big rival of the Royals.
Yeah.
He thinks it's a quality stadium. I personally haven't visited, but maybe someday.
Yeah. So in the number one spot for the Guardians, I've got Will Brennan.
In the starting, really.
Yeah.
So, what made you put him in the starting lineup? Or sorry, not the starting. Obviously, he's in the starting lineup. In the starting one spot.
Because like I wanted to make sure I put Jose Ramirez in the number 4 spot, but I just wanted to give Will Brennan a shot in the leadoff spot. Like,
Okay.
if I'm being completely honest, some viewers might turn this off, but please don't when they hear this. But unless it's the Royals, in years past I didn't really pay attention to the starting lineup for other teams. But hopefully that'll change as this podcast progresses.
Yeah, well, while viewers and myself may disagree with Will Brennan in the one spot, whether he ends up in the one spot starting day or not, obviously it's about production. What's going to get you the most production from the starting one spot down to the 9 spot? So, if Will Brennan is performing well in spring training, which I'm not 100% sure, you pay more attention to the spring training than I do. You may know that Will Brennan's doing pretty well in spring training. I'm not sure if you do. But if he is performing well, he could end up in a higher spot come opening day.
Yeah. Secondly, I have Stephen Kwan.
I actually had Stephen Kwan leading off. Now, it would be interesting for me to see Will Brennan and Stephen Kwan both like maybe a 1-2 punch, and then you maybe get like Jose Ramirez and then Carlos Santana, like a 1-2-3-4. That could be very interesting for the Guardians. I'm not sure if that worked the best for them, but
Yeah.
perhaps.
The next batter I have is Bo Naylor.
So Bo Naylor in the 3 or the 4?
3.
You have a very different lineup than I do, I must admit. But obviously, we're going to have a difference of opinion because obviously we don't know as much about this team as we do our own.
Yeah.
So we'll be very curious to see what the Guardians lineup's looking like. I think we can both agree on the starting pitcher being Tanner Bibee, but
Mm-hmm.
which I apologize if I butcher that name for any Guardians fans out there. I think it's Tanner Bibee. If we pronounce it wrong, our sincerest of apologies. But obviously, Shane Bieber could have been a potential starting pitcher opening day. Unfortunately, we've recently heard he is on, I believe it's the 60-day IL, but it's sounding like it may be longer as he's projected to come sometime around the All-Star break.
Yeah. And in the cleanup spots, I have some power. Jose Ramirez.
Yes, big power there. Carlos Santana, while he's getting older, could potentially be a great bat for them as well in regards to power.
Yeah, I have Carlos Santana in the 5 spot.
Okay, so we're pretty similar with Carlos Santana. I have him in the 4. He could potentially go to the 5, but obviously they want Carlos Santana in the middle of the lineup with the power that he possesses.
Yeah. And in the number 6 spot, I have Lane Thomas.
I have him in the 5, so we're pretty similar area for that.
Yeah. I have Daniel Sheeman in the number 7 spot.
That's crazy. I don't even have him in here. But obviously, it depends on how they're performing in spring training. If you perform well in spring training, you're going to be in the starting lineup come opening day. It's all about
Yeah.
performance in spring training. You may even see guys who were in the starting lineup all season year prior, and they're not even in the starting lineup come opening day next year because their production in spring training was so bad that they don't want them in the starting lineup come opening day.
In the 8th spot, I have Brian Rocchio.
Yeah, a lot of names with the Guardians that we may butcher. If we do, just tell us. We apologize.
Yeah,
Um, I'm thinking it's Brian Rocchio, something.
I think it's Rocchio.
All right, we'll go with that. And if we
Yeah,
butcher it, I'm sure they'll let us know.
yeah.
And you said the 7 or the 8 spot you have them there?
Brian,
Yeah.
I have him in the 8.
All right, we both have them in the 8, so seems like we agree there. I was just going to say who I had in the 9, but you can go ahead and tell me who you have in the 9. We'll discuss
You want,
from there.
you want to guess who I have in the 9?
I'd probably guess wrong, so you tell me.
I'll give you a hint. His last name is mostly a girl's first name.
Hmm. I'm still stumped.
John Kinsey Noel.
You know, I think that is a quality 9 that I didn't think about. I put Bo Naylor in the 9, but
I
I don't,
really think I really think Bo Naylor's gonna be in the like higher up in the lineup.
very well could be. And we're going to have to look back on this podcast come opening day to see who's right and who's wrong here. My guess is Ben's actually going to be closer to right because he does pay more attention to spring training than myself. Obviously, my opinion is spring training doesn't matter in regards to what really matters, like the regular season. So, but Ben loves this sport so much that he pays attention to it whenever possible.
Yeah. Hey, maybe I get my MLB facts, some of them from MLB The Show.
Oh, yes. Folks, we play a lot of MLB The Show. If you ever want to play MLB The Show with us, you just let us know. We love it.
Yeah.
We love it.
Who do you have DHing?
Say again?
Who do you have designated hitter?
Kyle Manzardo.
Oh, I have Lane Thomas as the DH.
Yeah, it could go either way there. Really just depends on, you know, who they want to put in the outfield.
Yeah.
So,
And we actually agree with the starting pitcher, Tanner Bybee.
yeah, like I said, I feel Shane Bieber probably, if he did not get injured, could be in the running. I still think Tanner Bybee probably would have been the starting pitcher either way. but Shane Bieber is a quality arm as well. They could have been battling it out.
Yeah, I'm the same way as you, John. And you have anything else to say before I jump to conclusion?
Not off the top of my head. If I find something, we can discuss it next week.
In conclusion, with the Royals and Guardians playoff teams last year, I think they're going to give a run for their money and remain very tight in the standings this season. I think the final score of the game is going to be 8-6 Royals. And do you have any scoring predictions?
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually personally am going to disagree with that high of a score. Obviously, in recent memory, you do see high scoring opening days. So I see where you're coming from. But with arms like Cole Reagans and Tanner Bybee, who really do not give up that much runs, I'm looking at like a 3-4 or 3-5. I am going to side with the Royals on this one just because I'm biased. So, and obviously I want the Royals starting off 1-0 because historically speaking, teams that start off 1-0 are much more likely to end up in the playoffs. So,
Man, I keep losing my train of thought, but I had something to say on that.
you're
But
all good.
yeah, if I think of it, maybe we can discuss it in further podcasts.
All right.
And that is all the time we have. If you like what you hear, tune in next week for more baseball talk. This is Ben and John signing off.
See you later,
So
folks.
long.